What if I told you? History isn't boring. It's just been cleaned up. The real stories? They're chaotic, ridiculous, and sometimes unbelievably stupid. From emperors losing their minds to entire wars starting for no good reason. This is history without the filter. And if you want the facts they don't teach, subscribe now. Because once you see this side of history, you can't unsee it. This is the history dude. So what if I told you? One of the most famous military attacks in history was predicted by a novel, blamed on a shark goddess, and followed by an attack almost nobody remembers. Here's the simple version. Japan surprises the United States at Pearl Harbor, destroys ships, shocks the world, and pulls America into World War II. That's the version you learned. But the real story? It's way stranger, full of coincidences, missed warnings, and details that sound completely made up, but aren't. Let's start years before the attack even happened. In 1925, a British author named Hector Bywater wrote a novel called The Great Pacific War. In it, Japan launches a surprise attack on the US Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor, years before it became reality. Now, this wasn't a secret plan or a blueprint, but naval officers, including Japanese strategists, had read his work, which means the idea of attacking Pearl Harbor was already floating around long before history made it real. Fast forward to December 7th, 1941. The attack happens. Chaos, destruction, confusion. And as the world reacts, something strange happens with time itself. Because of time zones, Canada actually declares war on Japan before the United States does. Same event, same war, different clocks. It's one of those details that makes history feel slightly off. And the strange coincidences don't stop there. Right before the attack, there was a board game advertisement called Deadly Double. It showed battleships being attacked from the air. After Pearl Harbor, people looked back and thought, wait, how did they get that so close? Historians say it's just a coincidence, but it's the kind of coincidence that makes you pause for a second. But here's where things get more serious. Because Pearl Harbor wasn't a complete surprise. There were warning signs, not a clear "this will happen now" message, but signals that something was coming. In fact, on the morning of the attack, radar operators detected incoming aircraft, but they were told not to worry. They were assumed to be American planes. And just like that, a warning was ignored. Sometimes history doesn't change because of what we know, but because of what we assume. Now step away from the military side for a moment and look at how people tried to understand what happened. In Hawaiian culture, there's a guardian figure, Ka'ahupahau, a shark goddess believed to protect the waters. After the attack, some locals believed her absence meant something was wrong, and her disappearance was blamed for the tragedy. It's not military history, it's human history. The need to explain the unexplainable. And just when you think the story ends there, it doesn't. Because months later, in 1942, Japan actually tried to attack Pearl Harbor again. This mission was called Operation K. The plan? Use submarines to launch seaplanes for another surprise bombing. But this time, nature got in the way. Clouds and poor visibility prevented the pilots from seeing their targets. And the mission failed. A second Pearl Harbor that most people have never even heard of. Now here's something even more critical. The attack destroyed battleships, but it missed something far more important. Aircraft carriers. They weren't in the harbor that day, and those carriers would go on to become one of the most important tools in the Pacific War. So while the attack was devastating, it wasn't complete, and that detail changed everything. What's even more shocking, the entire attack lasted about 90 minutes. That's it. In less than 2 hours, the United States went from staying out of the war to fully entering it. No slow buildup, no gradual shift, just one moment. That changed everything. And behind all of this was something much simpler. Human error. Messages warning of possible conflict were delayed. Communication broke down. Some warnings arrived too late. Others weren't fully understood. It wasn't just strategy, it was timing. And timing failed. But beyond all the facts, strategies, and theories, there's something we can't forget: the people. Sailors caught completely off guard. Pilots scrambling to respond. Civilians watching everything unfold in real time. History isn't just events, it's moments where people had no idea what was about to happen until it already did. And in the end, Pearl Harbor wasn't just an attack, it was a turning point. Before it, the United States was mostly staying out of the war. After it, that changed overnight. One event shifted an entire nation. And maybe that's the strangest part of all. When you really look at history, it's not just about what happened, It's about the warnings we missed, the coincidences we question, the decisions we make in seconds, and the consequences that last for generations. If you think this story was crazy, wait until you see the moments in history where wars almost started by accident. If you like real history told in a way that actually makes you think, subscribe, because the deeper you go, the stranger it gets.